On today's episode, we'll talk about the importance of getting people coffee, Federal Express, Django Unchained, Resball, and of course, eavesdropping on the walkies. Just a little bit of business before we start. There may be a curse word here or there in this episode, so please listen responsibly. As always, our website, theop.io, is up and chock full of tips, tricks, and gooey operator goodness. Make sure to check out The Breakdown, where the best operators in the biz explain shots they have done, The Musings, where we discuss everything from quick tips to larger concepts of storytelling, the answers, the images, and so much more. This episode is brought to you by the Folex Max. So you want to practice your handheld, Steadicam, or even on the wheels, but you don't have a full-size camera to use? Well, fear not, the Folex Max is here. It allows you to attach your DSLR or other lightweight camera and distribute that weight in a multitude of ways. Now you can practice with a camera cage that feels the same as just about any size professional camera out there. For more information, check out folexmax.com. And as an added bonus to listeners, mention this podcast and you'll receive $100 off on your order. That's FAUXLEXMAX.com. Finally, if you enjoy this podcast, please follow us, write a review, share us with your parents, and talk us up around the water cooler with your friends. So grab a beverage, sit back, and enjoy the op. Thanks for listening.
Lock it up, nice and quiet, and let's roll.
Victor 30 Echo, take 2.
Hey, Mark. Hey, Mark.
And camera set. And action.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to The Op, the podcast where we talk about operating and the art of visual storytelling. My name is Dave Comites. I am your host, and we are yet again here in Panavision Woodland Hills in their fabulous theater because it sounds so much better than the basement of my house. I appreciate them allowing us to be here. I am very, very excited today because I have a young Steadicam operator, B-camera Steadicam operator named Rochelle Brown. Some of Rochelle's credits as a B-camera Steadicam operator include an upcoming feature which is not out yet called Resball, directed by Sidney Friedlander, who's a director who I've worked with who's great. Little America, Angeline the miniseries. I did not know there was a miniseries about Angeline. And as a second AC, which is what she was doing before she made the jump to camera operating, Judas and the Black Messiah, Homecoming, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Westworld, Suicide Squad, and as a PA, Django Unchained, which I want to ask you about because I know a couple people who worked on that. Rochelle, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Dave.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time I saw you, Dave, but I see you since The Harder They Fall. I must have, right?
I think we have.
Okay, Rochelle and I, we have a very was that the first time we met?
It wasn't the first time we met, but it was the first time we almost worked with
yes,
each other.
So there was a feature called The Harder They Fall, Western in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and Sean Bobbitt was the DP, and I flew out, and Greg Williams was the first AC, and Rochelle was the A camera second, and I knew Greg sort of, and I'd heard all about you. I was all psyched, went out there to New Mexico, did, 2 days of rehearsal? You guys were probably there longer prepping, I would imagine.
Yeah, we were
there. A day
there
or two of rehearsal, and then we got a call into Netflix's offices, and they said, there seems to be a bug going around, and we're going to shut down for 2 weeks. And that was the beginning of the pandemic, and needless to say, yeah. So when we ended up doing the movie, a year later or 2 years or whatever it was a different cinematographer, and I was on board, but they had a different camera crew, and unfortunately we didn't work together.
Yeah.
And then actually Sean called me for Judas and the Black Messiah, and I wanted to do it, but I couldn't do a location show right then, so I missed out on that one too.
Oh, so close.
One of these days, but now you're an operator. Maybe we'll work together as operators on the same shows one of these days. But anyway, so we met there, and I thought it would be great to have you here. I was telling you before, you're a newer operator, so I kind of am interested in hearing what your journey is like right now, because I can talk about it, but it was 30 years ago, and who knows, I'm still talking about when movies were hand cranked, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Tell me your story. How'd you get here? What's your story?
What's my story? My story is that I was born in a little hospital in Port Antonio, Portland, Jamaica, in March of 1987.
I didn't know you were from Jamaica.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right.
And then my parents and I immigrated to the United States in 1996, December 7th, actually. I will never forget that day.
Wow.
1996,
Okay.
to Atlanta, Georgia. And, like immigrating to a new country is always like a difficult process. So I didn't necessarily enjoy it at first.
How old were you?
I was 9.
Oh, that's a great time to be going to a new country
right?
too, leaving
right?
all your friends, and no problem there.
Exactly, exactly. And so like it was like a really interesting time and like rocky few years. And then by the time I made it to high school, I had this really great best friend, and what we used to do on Fridays is that her dad would drop us off at the movies. Nice. And that was the first time I had like been able to go to the movies. Like we literally, like I remember when I graduated high school, we had stacks of movie ticket stubs because we went so much.
I love that.
Always did.
That's so great. That's great.
But like we would go every single Friday. We would see whatever the newest movie was.
Nice.
And sometimes we would see 2 movies, and that was just our thing. And so that's honestly how I got into like watching movies all the time. But before I was interested in photography, and my mom had bought me like a 35mm Canon camera one summer, and I just started to snap photos of everything, like my nieces, everyone in my family. Yeah. And I started to get them developed and see, this is what I'm doing. And then when I entered like my junior or sophomore junior year in high school, I found out that we had a class called mass media. And the reason I really wanted to take it was because you got to leave class early. Nice. And you got to run around school with a little video camera. And so I finally got into that class, and I remember that teacher, like I've since talked to her since I've graduated. And she taught us, like, I remember her showing us Citizen Kane.
Whoa,
and, like,
nice.
The Truman Show.
Do you remember liking Citizen Kane?
I hated it.
Okay.
I was like, what is this build up to? And then when it comes out that Rosebud is a sled, I was like,
oh, boy.
Really?
By the way, anybody listening to the podcast, I'm sorry. I'll put a spoiler at the front.
So sorry about that. But,
some really angry people.
Yeah.
But that's so funny.
But, it got me into just, like, because she would like give us little assignments, like what is hard light, what is soft light, and like defining things like that. As a 17-year-old, you're not really like really truly understanding what it is that you're doing.
Totally.
But what she also did was she made us do a TV show, like a morning news segment. And when I got to my senior year, there was no one else to anchor it. So me and one of my best friends at the time ended up being the anchors of it.
So this is like shown in the school and homeroom
every
or something?
Friday.
Oh, that's so fun.
They gave us a slot.
Please tell me, do you still have these videos?
I have some of them.
All right, I'm going to bug you for this. I'm going to put this, hopefully, as a if you'll let me, I'll put it up as a compliment to this podcast.
I'll try to find them, but they're hilarious.
Oh, you totally should. That's great.
Because it's like, the cheesy green screen with the terrible backgrounds.
Can see it now.
Like, I remember we had like a little book. They were called Magic that we would edit on these little magic boxes. And you could put the disc in, and then you would like scroll through the different backgrounds you want, and then you would click it, and it would automatically populate behind your head.
That's so cool.
And it was just like terrible.
Oh, I'm sure it was totally cheesy.
Terrible.
Totally cheesy.
But that got us into like, so we would shoot the news segments, and we would get stuff from like all the coaches, the teachers would give us announcements.
So this was the school news.
Yeah, it was the school news. And so, but then we would do little segments. So we'd go out and we'd shoot like little commercials for like home ec or something like that. And then we would also like shoot the basketball and football games and pep rallies.
Yeah.
So we would always have something to put in between the segments.
That's great.
But I loved it because it was so creative, and I had never done anything like that before. And I would she would allow me, like, certain students to take home the magic boxes, and I'd go home, put it on my TV, and edit on the weekends, like, to finish my segments up and stuff like that. But that's when I really, like, truly, like, understood. I was like, oh, wow, I really like this. Like, this is something that I could do. Now, granted, I had no idea about the film industry. Like, I didn't even know, like, this was a job I could do. And so it wasn't until she was like, what college do you want to go to? She's like, there's a school called SCAD. I'm like, SCAB? She's like, no, SCAD, the Savannah College of Art and Design.
She went to SCAD?
Yeah.
It's a great school.
Mm-hmm. It's a wonderful school.
And just backing up, I'm assuming that the Atlanta that you're talking about was not what it is today with the huge film industry. It's like there wasn't anything.
Yeah. There wasn't anything at all in Atlanta. Right. And actually they didn't even have film as a major in their Atlanta campus when I was there in 2005. Yeah. So I ended up going to Savannah, Georgia, and majoring in cinematography.
Okay.
And from there, I met one, because our college has this film festival it's massive, and it takes over all of downtown Savannah.
I've heard of this. Actually, do you know who Alan Queso is?
Yeah.
Alan Queso is, I think he's the cinematography professor there.
Yeah, he
I
is.
interviewed him, actually. He told me all about SCAD, and we talked at length about it, yeah. But it sounds, and he mentioned something about the film festival.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually, he told me they're actually now building full sound stages on, feature quality sound stages on the behind SCAD, or as part of it, that they're actually going to use as money makers to rent out to film companies.
That's smart, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
I actually know Alan. Alan was, I met him on the very first show I ever PA'd on. He was the first DP, and he was very nice to me,
Super
talking
nice
to me
guy.
about Steadicam.
Did he ever tell you about Roar?
No.
So for anybody who's listened to the Alan Queso episode, I won't tell you too much, but Roar was this movie that was made over about 7 years in California with about 40 real lions, and people got scalped. He was put in the hospital a couple times. He was a camera assistant on it. It's the craziest movie in the world, and he was the camera assistant on it. It's crazy.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So anyway, sidetrack. But good.
Yeah.
Look it up after you listen to this episode. Look up Alan Queso and listen about Roar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But super nice guy, and a Steadicam operator, one of the earlier Steadicam operators. Yeah.
But yeah. So SCAD was great. SCAD was scary. SCAD was amazing. SCAD was, because I had no experience. I had no one I could talk to about film. Yeah. I knew absolutely no one in this industry. So for me, it was very intimidating, because I'd never picked up a motion picture camera. I'd never picked up a film camera, nothing like that. And all of a sudden...
Was that the same for most of the people who were going there at that time?
No. And that was the scary part, was that I was in class with all these people who knew film terms already, had shot 8mm movies, 16mm, and I was just I've never touched one before.
I got you.
So,
okay.
as an 18-year-old, you feel intimidated by those people. And also because I knew, I was my parents can't afford to send me to this school. I just got to make sure I stick to it, and I make my grades. I have to have at least a B average to stay in here, and that was my main concern. But SCAD was great because I got to meet so many, not only a lot of film people, but because it's such a huge art school, you end up when you graduate, if you are if you go out there and try to make friends with a whole network of people that do so many things. Yep. So that was probably my biggest takeaway from SCAD, was the network I was able to gather.
That's cool.
But from SCAD, at our film festival, my friend and I, she was also a film major, we happened upon this panel, and we asked this woman a question, and we talked to her, everything was random. We talked to her afterwards, and she's like, hey, my company has an internship. We're in LA if you want to interview for it. I'll put a good word in for you. And we're like, okay, sure. So literally our next spring break, we set up an interview. We bought plane tickets with 4 of our friends, flew out here, interviewed for the internship, got the internship, flew back to SCAD, and that was our junior year that we got it, I believe. And that's kind of how I ended up out here. I was all right, let's just pack up our literally 2 days after graduating in May 2005, we packed everything and drove out to California with literally $600 in my account.
That's
just
great.
Okay, adventure time.
So what year is this?
This was 2009.
2009.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, there was no film industry in Atlanta,
nothing. Yeah.
Zero. There wasn't even anything in Atlanta proper.
So what'd you do for this company?
So for this company, I actually ended up with 2 internships because I opened my mouth, and I literally, because I don't know, I'm just one of those people who, if I hear something, I'm like, oh yeah, blah, 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 I'm interested in that. And they'll be and then things happen. And so I just happened to open my mouth one day. I was like, oh my God, I love Davis Guggenheim. I love his documentary, An Inconvenient Truth. And they're like, you want to go intern in his office? I was like, sure.
Wow.
Absolutely. So at this internship, I would go to Davis Guggenheim's office in Santa Monica on Mondays to transcribe Waiting for Superman.
Oh, wow.
And then on
Great movie that I don't think a lot of people saw.
Yes.
And It is a great movie. It's an important movie that I don't think a lot of people saw. Watch Waiting for Superman. Go check that out.
So good.
Yeah.
So well done.
Yeah. And he directed an episode of ER like eons ago, and I worked with him. Yeah.
Did you really?
One episode.
Yeah, he's such a nice guy.
Super nice guy. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so I was that's when I learned what even transcribing was, like how you cut together a documentary and all of that. Because everyone in his production office were just wonderful people, would just teach me anything I wanted to learn.
That's great.
And so I would do that for one day, and then I would go to the company was called Participant Media.
Oh yeah, sure.
And so I'd go there. I think it was 2 times a week in Beverly Hills to work in their office. And after, like, around, the internship was coming to an end, and I had heard that Davis was executive producing a TV show called The Defenders. And so I don't know who told me to do it, but I walked up to him one day and I was like, "Hey, Davis, I heard that you're producing this TV show. I was wondering if I could give you my resume and you could possibly give it to them because I would love to be a PA on it." Kid you not, 2 weeks later, I get a phone call from someone, and they're like, "Hi, Rochelle, we've got your resume here. We'd like to know if you'd like to come to interview for the show called The Defenders." And I literally nearly dropped the phone. Wow. And so I went in, interviewed, and got the job on the spot, actually.
As like an on-set PA or an office PA? Or?
Office PA.
Office PA.
I was one of 3 office PAs. Wow. And so...
But a paid gig now.
Yes, paid gig in the industry. And that was key for me because I was still working at FedEx office. So I had my day job,
you didn't say that. Okay.
Oh, yeah. So my day job was like working at FedEx office in Beverly Hills.
So FedEx is 9 to 5 or whatever, and then you're interning at 2 separate things. Okay, so you're essentially lazy.
Oh, yes. I was super lazy.
You're not driven
living
in
Pasadena, driving all the way every day.
Right, when were you sleeping on someone's couch or what?
Oh, no. It was 4 of us got a place in Pasadena. Okay. And it was like a 3-bedroom because my boyfriend at the time was out here too. So it was like a 3-bedroom like townhouse that we shared. It was like $600 a month for rent. And we're like, yes.
Mine, when I first, my first place was an apartment that I had myself, and I don't quite, it was in Whittier, so it must have cost nothing.
Yeah.
But the second place that I lived was right across the street from Disney Studios, because I remember you could go down to the end of our street and you could see like the dwarfs holding up the roof on Disney. It's not Disney Studios, it's like Disney Corporate, I guess, or whatever, over in Burbank. And it was technically speaking a 2-bedroom house, and we had 5 guys living in there. Yeah. So we put a door on the living room and someone lived in there.
Yeah.
I had this in-between room that I think was a sunroom that was maybe 8 feet by 10 feet, and that was my room. There was a pool table room in the back that one of the other guys lived in, and then the other 2 guys lived in the bedrooms.
The bedrooms.
And I think we were each paying like $200 a month or something like that. I was delivering prosthetic hips to hospitals to make money. So anyway, that's another story entirely.
Okay, that's awesome. That's more exciting than FedEx office.
But I actually picked it because I thought it would be interesting. It would show me around LA. But anyway, so you're FedEx office, so you get the PA job.
Yep, get the PA job.
The Defenders.
The Defenders. It literally ran for a season. Yep, it was Jerry O'Connell and Jim Belushi. Jerry
O'Connell's a super nice guy.
He is a sweetheart.
Worked with him a bunch of times.
And he remembers everyone's names.
Yeah, right. I'm
like, Jerry, how do you do that? He's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just there.
Yeah, and meanwhal, I'm like, I know you're the star, but your name is... I can't remember anybody's name.
Same thing. He was so cool.
Nice.
So got the job. We shot the pilot. We were down, and I was like, what is this downtime? Am I ever going to get another job? And then it got picked up, and then I did a year on that show. It was a 22-episode order TV show. And so I was like one of 3 office PAs. We were shot on CBS Radford. Mm-hmm. And what was really cool about that show was that they were super open to just like, they knew that I didn't want to be a writer or a POC or anything like that.
Okay.
And so they're like, what do you want to do? I was like, camera department. They're like, okay, no problem. So what they would do is every time there was distro for camera, I always took it to them. so I could get to see what an actual set was, and I would get to like interact. Like that's how like I would talk to Alan. I'd go over to set, bring them their distro, hang out for
Alan
a
Queso?
second.
Oh, that show was Alan Queso. I either missed that or I didn't get that. Oh, I got you.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, that was the
so
one I
you
met him
basically
on.
bring them all the paperwork they needed and be like, hey, what's going on here?
And just be like,
what's going on there? What are you doing there?
Okay,
and were they pretty cool, open about?
Yeah, they were all really cool. It was the operators were this guy named John Flynn
Sure.
Yeah, and then
probably John Flynn the third.
Yep. And then Brian Sullivan, I believe, was on B camera.
Yep.
And then I can't remember the rest of the assistants, but I remember the utility was this woman named Yuka Kodono. And Yuka was really cool, and Yuka actually, after the show ended, you know, you're in the wonderful, am I going to work again? Where do I want to go? Do I want to go on set? And Yuka remembered that I wanted to be in camera department and randomly calls me and was like, hey, so I'm like the assistant to Janusz Kaminski, and he's directing his first like feature, and they need a camera PA. Do you want to come PA? And I didn't even have to say yes. I was like, of course you go, of course. And so that was actually the first time I'd ever like camera PA.
Wow.
Which was really cool because I was like, okay, first of all, it's Janusz Kaminski.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then like the assistants were
what movie was that?
I don't even remember the name. I don't know if
he
it
directed a
came
movie.
out.
Okay, it obviously didn't do huge things. Okay.
Exactly.
Anyway, yeah. So who shot for him? Who was the DP?
It was this like young dude. His name was like Keith something.
My guess is it was probably some younger DP that Janusz could kind of go, why don't we do this and why do you, you know, yeah,
That's exactly
which is fine.
what
It's,
happened.
you know,
That's exactly
everybody
because
wins in that situation.
Yeah,
So,
and that's because I remember hearing them say that it's like, "Ooh, it's got to be difficult to be a DP for Janusz." And I was like,
But in the meantime, this young DP is probably learning a lot and gets a good credit, and so you know, like I said, everybody wins.
Exactly.
But who were the operators? You remember?
I don't remember. I don't remember at all who the operators were.
Get off of this podcast. Okay.
But I remember like one of the focus pull was Mark Spath, and then the B camera the A first, Mark Spath. Second was David O'Brien. And David O'Brien was super cool. I would talk to him a lot about just things. He would teach me different things in assisting. But what David O'Brien did for me was David O'Brien got me the PA job on Django Unchained.
Wow.
And how that came about was like Buddha, Allah, whomever in the universe kind of just like placed it in front of me.
Well,
because
it sounds like that's happened a couple of times for what it's worth. So.
It totally has.
Yeah.
But like how that went, it was crazy because like there was like a Facebook group that you could find jobs on, and it's like a woman posted. I remember, I'll never forget. It was this woman named Julie Helton, and she's like, looking for a female PA for a movie coming up. Must be able to lift a lot, blah, 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 blah. So I see that, and I email her immediately.
Yeah.
Like, hi, Jules, blah, 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 blah. So I'm at a Steadicam practice. And I got a call from David O'Brien. I'm like, hey, Obi, what's going on? He's like, hey, so my friend is going to be calling you. Her name's Julie Helton. I told her about you. She needs a PA for this movie that's coming up. I won't tell you what it is, but just know she's going to call you. I gave you a really great recommendation. And if you want it, the job is probably going to be yours. And I was like, thanks so much, Obi. So she literally calls me maybe like 5 minutes after that.
Wow.
And she's like, hi, you want to set up an interview, blah, 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 blah. And I remember I was like, Julie Helton. So I go back to my emails, and that was the same woman I had just emailed.
Yep.
And she had actually responded to me telling me to come interview.
There you go.
Also. So we set it up, and it's literally here at Woody.
Patterson Woodland Hills.
In one of the rooms.
Yeah.
And I come and I hang out, and she interviews me with the loader, who is this wonderful man named Gary Bevins, who is now a focus puller now. And we sit there, we interview. I can't even tell you what the interview was because I was just on cloud nine because I found out it was Quentin Tarantino's movie.
Yep.
And I was like a huge Tarantino fan. Like Tarantino was the reason I went to film school. Like I saw Kill Bill and my mind was blown.
That's cool.
And I was like, oh God, what is happening in my world right now?
Yeah.
I was like, how am I manifesting this? And so she goes, I'll never forget. She's like, well, Gary, what do you think? I like her. What do you think? Gary's like, yeah, I mean, that's cool. She's like, all right, cool, you got the job. And I was like, excuse me?
Wow.
I have right now. She's like, yeah, if you want to stay, you can stay and continue, help us prep, we'll teach you stuff. And I stayed. And I labeled cases.
Great.
And it was I was literally in awe. I thought I had died and gone to heaven.
Wow.
I did not know how I had made this happen, but I was just like, you know what? Just roll with it. And so Django was probably one of the best experiences of my life.
This is all amazing. But for anybody who's listening who might not know, can you explain to them what the job of a camera PA is?
So a camera PA is the lowest position in the camera department, per se. And their job is really like, I almost call them almost like the secretaries-ish of the camera department, because their jobs are really important, but I don't think it gets enough like respect, because like when you're a camera PA specifically, that is the time that you get to learn so much about every single position. If you're with the right people. Exactly. But mostly what you do is like you're bringing coffees in the morning to the director, to the DP, sometimes to the director, to the camera department. You're running batteries for them. You could be like cleaning the truck sometimes for them, cleaning cases, just like any like ancillary tasks that you can do, because technically with the union rules you're not allowed to like touch camera gear and like do lens changes and such. And so on Django, what was really great was that they would teach me everything. And they would let me touch stuff that I wasn't supposed to be touching. And I will say that because honestly,
I think that's actually on every set.
I think so too, and it's important because that is how I learned.
Absolutely. And just to clarify for anybody who's not listening, the reason is because a camera PA is not a union position.
Yeah.
And their concern is that someone might hire a very intelligent, I was going to say educated, that's not the right, someone with a lot of experience who's a camera PA, which they don't have to pay union rates to, and go, well, you have this person, you don't need a second AC, or so right. There's a reason for it. But I think, truthfully, most sets that I'm on, if people are smart and the ACs will judge the camera PA, and if they aren't going to be dropping lenses, and they're like, "Hey, help me out with this," and
right, and that was the thing. Like with Jules and with Gregor, was like they saw.
Oh, Gregor was the first. Yes, of course he was. Yeah,
Gregor Taverner was the focus puller.
Couldn't be learning from someone better.
Oh, I know, right? Just like
one of the giants in the industry. Actually, now an operator.
Yes, now an operator.
And actually, I have him. He's on a list of people that I want to talk to. So.
Oh my gosh, that'd be an amazing episode with Gregor.
Yeah.
But
so let me ask you a question. Yeah. So it sounds like from the last one and this one that you were successful as a camera PA.
Yes.
What do you think it is about you that makes you successful? That for someone who's getting into this, who's going to be a camera PA, what are the do's and don'ts of being a camera PA?
Okay. Okay. One of the things I remember being told was that they could see that this meant a lot to me, and that I was very, like, my passion was, I had a lot of passion to learn, and I was eager to learn, and I was always paying attention. And one thing on Quentin Tarantino said, it's like, you cannot have your phone on you. You get it taken by security at the beginning of the day, and that's it. You have to interact with people. And what I loved about that was that I was forced to focus. And so I was like, literally everything they did, not even just the camera department, grip, electrician, everyone. I was there looking. I was always trying to figure out what they were doing, and I would ask questions once I knew it was appropriate. And that's one thing that I feel like a lot of people don't understand. Like, you have to figure out when it's appropriate to ask questions. You can't just blurt it out in the moment, when the DP's talking to the director. Remember it, write it down if you have to, and when you get a moment, he or she gets a moment, pull him aside and say, hey, when you were doing this, this, and this, I saw that you did this. Why? And I feel like a lot of the reasons why I was successful and why I learned so much is because I understood my place. I was never where I wasn't supposed to be, and I was always where I was for the amount of time I was supposed to be there. And so they never felt like I was just like hovering or whatever, they always felt like I was always eager to learn something from them. And so they were very open with their knowledge with me, like incredibly open with it. And that's honestly where I think I learned the most about like utilitying, loading, and seconding were in my camera PA days. Because after Django ended, I ended up being Bob Richardson's camera PA for like a year and a half on this whole run of commercials that he did.
And that says something, because Bob Richardson is not an easy person to always work for.
And that's why I got the job.
Yeah.
Because one of the assistants, I ended up, after Django ended, his then wife was going to AFI, and
we should say Bob Richardson is Tarantino's cinematographer,
yes.
among other people's, but a huge and very talented cinematographer.
Very.
And an idiosyncratic person, perhaps?
Yes. He literally reminds me of my dad, which is why we got along so well.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I cut you off, but I just realized some people might not know who we're talking about.
Yeah.
So why do you think you got the job? Because
they told me, they're like, hey, so you seem to know Bob's gear, first of all, because I learned it on Django.
His own personal equipment.
Yes.
Okay.
He's like, you seem to know Bob's gear, and you also know how to talk to him and keep him happy. Would you like to do this commercial with us? And I said, absolutely. And after the first, I remember it was a CarMax commercial. After the first commercial, I was like on it. I was like, okay, I got to make sure I get in there. I get his bag in the morning. I got to make sure he has his coffee in the morning. No, not too much milk. And I literally used to write notes down for Bob. It's like, this is what Bob likes in the morning. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And before I go to work, I would look at my notes and I'd make sure I hit everything. That's I'd amazing. Fade away in the background. And he wears comm, so I'd wear one. Didn't have to. No one really told me I had to, but I would wear it. But I would hear what he would say to the assistants, and I'd go and I'd look, and I'd be like, okay, that's an ND. That's where they're putting that in the...
So you were eavesdropping.
All the time.
Yeah.
That's probably like the best thing on a set, always be eavesdropping.
It's funny because one of the things that I will do with camera PAs, and I mention to people if they can, is when we're setting up a crane shot, if they don't have anything to do, I always go, look, there's 2 extra headsets, go put them on and just listen. Because crane shots are really hard to figure out if you're watching and not hearing what people are saying. But once you hear what they're saying and you're seeing, you're like, oh, so they're doing that and they're doing this. And there's so many of them who have said to me, like, that was invaluable, but it's the same thing you did on your own. Which was just to listen to that. That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. And then I'm guessing part of that is also... You could probably hear him just as an aside to someone else go, I think I might go to Crafty and get a pack of peanuts, and then you bring it, hey, you want a pack of peanuts? And you...
Exactly. Keep his favorite snacks nearby. Yeah. Hey, Bob, do you want this?
But also, look, I will say this. We could end right now, and this would be one of the most valuable podcasts. No, because seriously, because I'll tell you, there was a show I was on where we had 2 camera PAs. Uh-huh. And one of them did exactly what you're talking about. And the other one was clearly too good for this. Mm. And I took the other person. I'm not gonna say sexes or anything that will define who these people are. But I took the one who wasn't so into it aside one day, and I said, I wanted to let you know I can sense that you're frustrated if I say, hey, can you grab me a cup of coffee? And I want to be very clear about something. I'm not asking you to grab me a cup of coffee because it's beneath me or because I'm better than you. I'm asking you for a cup of coffee because I'm tired. I can't get away from the camera. Yeah. I need a cup of coffee. And part of your job is to facilitate that, and that's okay. So there's no judgment here. But I said, but the thing that you're not getting is that you're getting me the cup of coffee is as important as me landing the next frame, because it's all part of the same thing. And this is just where you are in the point. And at some point, you will hopefully be where I am, and you will hopefully ask someone else for a cup of coffee with no judgment and with no matter. And I said, do you see this other person here? This other person is constantly coming up and going, hey, are you guys okay? Can I get you anything? Can I get you anything? And as a result, this other person is always hearing, we're good, but hey, take a look at this. Look, this is this line, and this, because they're in the space. And again, but this other person who was really on top of it, knew when to ask something, knew when not to ask something, knew when to write it down and ask later. And, and I said, you do whatever you want, but there's 2 people here. And if I had to make a call tomorrow, it wouldn't be to you. I said, I say that with love because I understand where you're at, because you're like a racehorse who wants to get out of the gate, but you're not ready to get out of the gate. Yeah. So you need to stay in the gate, and you need to learn and it was well taken, and I think it made a difference. But I get it. It's hard it's hard to, and I also think where you are in your career in the time period that you are is different than I actually never camera PA'd, so I can't even. I just it was a different time period, but whatever. Yeah. But was different than a long time ago, because now, like back then, the only time you could like frame something and edit something and whatever was if you were working, because we didn't have camera. But now everybody's like, well, I know how to frame and I know how to do that, and so I think there's even more of a like, why am I getting coffee? And
yep.
But it sounds to me from what you're telling me like you understood how valuable that was. Mm-hmm. And the truth of the matter is, and you said it really well, is the reason that camera crew liked you was because you kept Bob happy. And that's exactly what, and so as a result, they're like, hey, we want you to keep Bob happy. We want you to keep us with us. So let's show you all this stuff. And,
Yeah.
So, yeah. But it's just, I interviewed Tommy Shalami, who's West Wing and this and the other. Yeah. And one of his things that he said, which is so true, is like, if you're a PA, be the best PA. If you're a second AC, be the best second AC. Exactly. And you may want to be a director, but I don't want to hear about you want to be a director. When we have beers tomorrow night, you can tell me you want to be a director. You're a PA now.
Yeah. And I tell that to people that I run into now, like who are PAing, who are utilitying, who are seconding. And it's like, look, I don't care. I don't care. Don't care right now.
Yep.
Right now, you're my second.
Exactly.
So I want you to do everything that a second's supposed to do, because when you don't, I notice it. And I've also been a second, so you can't really get anything past me.
That's exactly
and I think that's what a lot of people that I'm running into, like a lot of younger people are not understanding. And it's like, look, you will move up, but if I see that as a PA you're killing it, you don't want to do it, sure, but you are killing it, I'll take a chance on you in a second if on something I'm shooting, like off on the side. I'll take a chance on you because I know whatever job I give you, you're going to give it 100%.
That's amazing. That's fantastic advice. And it's so well, it's exactly right, because so much of it is not, I see you as this, it's more I see how you're doing your job and what you're putting into it.
Exactly. I will never forget, I was on Brooklyn Nine-Nine and I was a utility, and it was my first year being the utility. And I had been working as a second for like a few years, maybe like 2 years, like, non-union world coming up. And I got the job literally by opening my mouth, like randomly one day on another job, right?
Something it sounds like you've never done before.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I had to clean this tent. We had a Ultra Bounce tent that they got specifically made for Video Village. And I had been dreading cleaning this tent. I was like, man, why do I have to clean this tent? Fine. And so I was like, I'm going to do it. So I got my speaker, brought it outside. I set everything up inside. I knew, because I always check my sides. I always knew where everything was. I was like, all right, they're about to be on this scene for probably like 30 minutes. They won't ever need to move anything. They're going to shoot in this direction. I got time. Set them up. Everyone was fed. Everyone had everything they needed. And I said, hey, guys, I'm going to go outside and clean this tent. Unbeknownst to me, the A-camera focus puller came outside. Now I'm there, I got my cleaning supplies, I got my music, and I'm literally like bopping around. I'm like,
You're in like the parking lot, basically?
Oh yeah, right by the camera truck. And granted, I did not want to do this at all. I tried not to do this. And I was like, nope, I gotta do it. Let's just do it.
Lean in.
And all of a sudden, I hear on the walkie, guys, I just want to let you guys know that Rochelle is outside right now, listening to music, dancing, and cleaning that tent. She's a better person than I am, because I would not be happy to clean a tent right now. And I didn't say, and I just said, thank you. And I didn't say anything other than that. But like, they didn't need to know that I didn't want to do this.
It makes an impression.
It's like, like my old focus puller used to say this thing where he's like, you can either do it my way or you can do it my way. Irritated or mad. And I was like, at that time, I was like, yeah, I mean, I knew it had to be done. I wasn't going to put a stink up about it. It's my job.
That's exactly
like, I might as well make it fun. And I feel like you have to, like, honestly, in anything you do, you need to kind of have that type of attitude. It's like, yeah, I don't necessarily want to do this, but it has to get done for this job. So why am I going to be mad about this right now? That's like, there's great. So many other things to be upset about.
That's life right there, by the way.
Exactly. Yeah. Just do it, get it over with, and then you'll be done.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, I like, to this day, like, I was talking to Bob the other day, because I shot a short, and I was like, hey, Bob, can you just critique this for me?
Richardson.
Bob Richardson, yeah. I emailed him, and I was like, can you just critique this for me? And Bob sends me back a freaking freaking email with everything in it, with suggestions, asking me questions. And I was like, you don't understand how much this means to me, but thank you so much for doing this. Right. And he's like, it's my pleasure.
Obviously he respects you.
Yeah. And it's like,
that's invaluable. I mean, that's unbelievable.
It's amazing. Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. It's like, I tell my friend, I was like, I don't know how this happened, but I'm going to lean into it.
But you do know how it happened.
I do, but you when you're living it. You didn't
expect it to happen.
Yeah,
maybe.
I didn't expect it, and
I think that's part of it, though. You didn't clean the tent well because you wanted people to be impressed with you. You cleaned the tent well because you want to do your job well.
Right.
And people are impressed with you because you do your job well. And it's that simple.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's again, like I was saying before, just be the best PA, be the best second AC, be the best first AC. Yeah. And don't think about, I'm doing this because I want to X. I think about, I'm doing this because I want to be proud of my job and do it. And I think there's a lot of that doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
And I was just talking to who was it? I was just talking to Brian Pitts about when he moved up from camera assisting to operating. Yeah. And he basically was just like, I just wasn't into it anymore. And we didn't go into it too much, but I know what he's talking about. It's sort of like, I'm not excited about this, and therefore I'm not working at the level that I want to be working at, so therefore I got to find something else. You know, I got to find the next challenge. Yeah. And so, and I think that's actually, it's an important point of like people understanding when it's time to move on. Like, when you're getting sort of like jaded and you're not excited anymore and whatever.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, so that's fantastic. So you became Richardson's PA basically, or the PA with their group.
Yeah, for a year and a half-ish. And I'll never forget, he says to me one day, hey, see all these assistants I'm getting in? I was like, yeah. He's like, get to know them, get their contact info, because they're the ones that are going to be hiring you. I was like, okay, Mom. And I did exactly what he said. Yep. And it ended up being some of those assistants who ended up taking me out. Oh, Rochelle, like the wonderful Bob Hall, who is now retired, who was like the sweetest man ever. And to see him and Bob Richardson work together, they're so opposite. It's hilarious. Wow. But like Bob trusted him too. And he was like, okay, I can't mess with this dude. He's not frazzled by anything. And it was Bob Hall who like took me on Westworld as a loader. Like I remember like I thought I flashed a mag, and I go up to him and I'm like, Bob, I'm so sorry. I think I messed up. He's like, what happened? I was like, I think I flashed a mag. And I explained to him what happened. He was like, you're fine. And he goes and he turns and he puts his hand on my shoulder. He's like, slow down. Nice. It's okay. Nice. And from then on, every time I was in that tent, that dark room, it was like, please don't speak to me right now. Thank you. Yep. And I just had that moment. It was just him telling me or giving me the okay to slow down. So smart. Was just like it for me.
And just anybody listening who doesn't know, flashing a mag is when you're loading the film. The magazine is closed, obviously, so no light can get in. But when you're changing it, you like if you happen to turn the light on and you think it was completely closed, but it wasn't, or something like that, it is something that happens very rarely, but it does happen. Yeah. And it's, as a loader, it's so frightening, because if they have a 1,000-foot mag with a stunt that they could only do once, and you accidentally do that, and the thing about it is, I mean, I loaded for a teeny tiny moment, so I remember it. It doesn't happen because you don't know what you're doing. It happens because generally you're moving too fast. Yep. And you didn't triple check before you turn the light on or whatever it is. And you're loading either in a bag, or you're loading in a dark bag, or you're loading in the dark room, so you can't see anything. Yep. So it's that's great advice, because it is, most of the stuff that we do happens because we're going too fast. Yep. And what I find time and time again is, if you slow down, you actually end up going faster because you're not tripping over it and you're not missing steps and going back and whatever. But it takes someone with confidence to does learn that and accept it. Very much so. A great piece of advice. Very much so. So you're loading on Westworld for Bob Hall.
I would day play. So he called me to like day play on second unit on Westworld, and like I did like they had done the Entourage movie, and so I did like they did a commercial for it, and I was a loader on that, and I was just like hop back and forth for people like loading and like.
But you're working with big people.
Yes.
Like you're a small fish in very, very big ponds.
Very big
there.
ponds, yeah. Okay. And then I ended up like, I don't even know how I got in the job, but there was this like new edition, the band or the boy band. There was a movie that was made for BET, and it was like a 3-part series directed by Chris Robinson and Crash and Karsten Gopinath, who goes by Crash. Really, really great dude. They came up in the music video world together, and so we're shooting that, and we had a day player come on. I was a loader on there, and her name was Lauren Gadd, and we're still friends to this day. And it was like a walkie conversation. They were talking about Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I come on walkie. I was like, oh my God, you work on Brooklyn Nine-Nine? I love that show. Oh my God. And literally like 2 hours or so later, she calls me on walkie. She's like, hey, Rochelle, can you come to set? I'm like, sure. She's like, hey, so I just want to know, like, what are you doing, like, starting, like, July? I'm like, nothing. She's like, well, I checked with our focus puller, and I'd like to offer you the job of utility on Brooklyn Nine-Nine for season 4.
Wow.
And I'm like, yeah,
you can do that.
Yeah, totally, yes,
Yep.
absolutely, yes. And so that is how I ended up on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which was the first show that I was like on like full time. Yeah. That was my first experience like on a TV show, because before I just been like day playing on stuff like between like Mad Men and like other shows like I can't remember the names of right now, like doing like low budget music videos. I was like really into that world too.
So
like,
Mad Men, you were with Don Devine.
Yes.
Wonderful
Yes,
guy.
I used to day play on that. That's where I learned how to run cable.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Don's fantastic.
Because Lisa Guerrero.
Yeah.
She
Great
is
people.
like
You're learning from great people.
Oh my God, yes. She's like magnificent. I love her.
And just for anybody who doesn't know, and I never completely understand, a utility does what?
So a utility's job is they basically like, it's like a loader, except like on some shows you will do paperwork, on some shows the DIT will do the paperwork, but mostly you're cabling stuff.
Mostly cabling.
Yeah, and Brooklyn Nine-Nine was a 3-camera show that was all cables.
Gotcha.
And with 2 different villages.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So I would like have to, full on cabling, and it was tough. Like if you were not good at wrapping cable, it would be a difficult job for you.
Yep.
But I'm kind of anal retentive too, so like all my cables were like had to be straight. Like there were nothing that like there were no diagonals on my set. It was always like straight angles,
that works.
which worked out really great. But I had 2 villages, and then sometimes a director's village on a stand that also had to be cabled. So I would be in there for rehearsals with the operators, and the operators were cool. I would stand right next to them.
That's great.
And I would always know which way the camera was pointing. And so, like, on the stage, they literally, it had been going for so long that they had things set up. Like, they had fiber on one side of the stage that ran up in the perms up top, and then would come down. Fiber optic cable.
Okay.
And so I would know, okay, they're over here. I'm going to have to drop the fiber optics. So I dropped the cables before the rehearsal was even done and have them waiting for me. And then and all the villages always had the same spot, and I learned it really quickly. I would take notes my first season, so I always knew where to go. But what I did was, because being a utility, it wasn't like I was already kind of past that point in my brain. So what I would do was I would make sure that all my utility tasks were done, village picture was up, like everybody, it was like the village on Brooklyn Nine-Nine was very different. They had it custom built, and they had like different things that I have to pull out, single channels, like the DP and the script supervisor had these little butt boards that they would sit on in their chairs. So I would just make sure like single channel drawer pulled out halfway so that they could walk by but not hit themselves. Make sure all the monitors are up, they're properly tilted down, all butt boards were down. Andy Samberg liked to sit always next to the script supervisor, make sure there's room for Andy's chair to be there, and I just make sure everything that they needed was good, because they're doing everything else. This is the one thing that I can do to help them, to just sit, do what you need to do, and bring you a drink. You okay?
But and again, all those things, that's an important. It's a piece of the bigger puzzle that if it's missing, the puzzle's not gonna be complete.
Exactly.
So there's no question about it.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you had the right attitude about it, which is, this is important. This is what my job is. I'm going to do it well.
Yeah. And they were also really cool on that show too. Like, they would let me come sit in. Like, one of the producers, he was really friendly and be like, Rochelle, come on in. and I get to like sit in Video Village tent with them. And then like Andy and I got really cool, and so I'd be able to like sit there and just like chill next to Andy and like watch stuff. And then what I would really do is I would research when I was on that show. So I'd get all my tasks done, and I had set up the costumes, the hair makeup village, so that I could have a little desk back there with my iPad. And so I would take notes and I would research whatever I didn't know. So they'd try to find me like, hey, Rochelle, picture and down. And I'd be like, okay, copy. So I wouldn't ever be far away from where they would need me, but I could do my own stuff. Like I had little books I would read sometimes, had like a little office lamp set up.
That's hilarious.
But like the point was like, because my job was done, they never questioned where I was, what I was doing, because whenever I needed to be there,
you were there.
I was already there.
Yep.
Like, I would already know what the problem is. I would know how to fix it. And because they trusted me and knew that I knew what I was doing, and if I didn't, I would ask questions, they would just give me time. They'd be like, Rochelle, what's wrong? I'd be like, I need like 5 minutes to fix this transmitter. They're like, okay, cool. And they wouldn't ask any questions. They just give me the time. Yeah. And so, like, that's the show that I started to, like, really kind of, like create a system. Mm-hmm. That was the show that I started to understand, like, oh, okay, in each one of these jobs, you have to have a system for your job. So I would have, again, lists. That's my thing. I write stuff down all the time because that's how I remember it. So utility, I had my list of things that must be done. Step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Get that done, I'm good. And then the next season, I got bumped up to A camera second. Okay. And so with that, same thing. I need to do this. Phil likes his monitor here. Phil likes his grips here. I need to get this for his grips and make sure that they're good. You know, Jamie likes this. Jamie likes her monitor here.
Who
likes
were the AC and the operator?
So the operators was Phil Mastrella on A. There was Rick Page on B camera, and then John Purdy on C camera. Mm-hmm. And then the assistants was Jamie Stevens, and then myself, and then there was Bill Gerardo on B camera, and Will Schmidt on a B second. And then the C camera didn't have a second, but they had a focus puller named Dustin Miller. And then by my 5th season, the woman who hired me, Lauren Gadd, was operating on C camera.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
And so, like, that was like my first like second AC job, an established TV show for a season. Yeah. And so I was super nervous about it, but, like, again, my list saved me. Totally. And I took a lot of photos. I always made sure I knew what the camera build was going to be. I was always prepared with everything I needed, had everything on my stand, my filters. And I was just very like, tuned into wherever I needed to be and how the show ran. Yep. Because, you know, every show has its own, like atmosphere, I like to call it. Like, it's the way they want to do it. And once I learned it, it was a lot easier for me to kind of like inject little things that I'd learned different places, but still keep the entirety of their own atmosphere together. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that was a really, really great learning experience for me. And just like wonderful crew. Like, the crew had been together for like 4 years by that time, and they were so welcoming.
That's great.
And like yeah, it was a really, really good experience. I'll never forget Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
So back up a little bit, because at one point you said, like, maybe before you did Django or before you did whatever this thing was, that you were practicing Steadicam. So
this whole time.
So tell me about that. When did that? How did you get into that? And what? Because so you're now a Steadicam operator. Like, you're an operator in the union. You're a Steadicam operator. But you've been sort of wanting to be in practicing for how many years?
Since I left college, 2009.
Wow.
So, okay, how I got into Steadicam is very odd also.
All right.
So SCAD has this campus in Lacoste, France.
Oh, wow. And
so I did a summer there, and they take you on a trip every summer. They take you on a week-long trip to Paris. Okay. And our RD at the time was like walking around Paris and found a film set that was shooting. It was a Romanian film that was shooting in Paris. And so he asked them, he's like, hey, I have some film students. Do you mind if they come by? So he offered it to us. No one wanted to go.
What?
Except for me.
Why?
Don't know.
Weird. Okay.
So I'm like, and granted, I speak like little itty bitty French, right?
Yeah.
And they're shooting it overnight. So I leave the hotel with a vague description of where they're going to be. And I'm like, all right, here we go. And I find them in a train station. And the woman who's the PA who's on the lockup, in my little bit of French, I tell her who I am and what I need to be. And she's like, okay. And she brings me over to the main set. And they had known I was coming. And they assigned me to this guy who was also like a PA, this dude named Matthew. And Matthew kind of like was in charge of me the entire night. And I'm sitting there and I'm just like, okay, I'm in France. I'm on a film set. This is amazing.
A Romanian movie film?
Romanian movie. And I look, and it's like they're coming out of a ballet studio. And I look across the street, and I see this guy, and he's wearing the camera on his body. And I'm looking at the monitor, I'm looking at the camera. I'm like, huh? And I asked him, I was like, what is that? He's like, oh, that's a Steadicam. I was like, I think we have a class in that instead.
You'd never seen a Steadicam before?
I had never really, I had heard about it, in school. But you had to be an upperclassman to get into the class. Right. And so I think I was like a sophomore then. It was going into my junior year. And I'm like, whoa. And he's like doing a pole. Yeah. And then he lets her go by, and then he pushes her up the stairs. Yeah. And I was like, that is the coolest shit I've ever seen.
Do you remember who the operator was?
I do not. Okay. I don't. And I just remember thinking that was so cool.
That's so cool. I'm sort of jealous hearing that story.
Yeah. I ended up staying on the set until 6 a.m., walking back to my hotel. And when I got back to SCAD that fall, I signed up for the Steadicam course. So
they have a course. I'm assuming Alan Queso wasn't there when you were.
No, it was this guy named John Drop.
Okay.
And he had been an operator out here for a short period of time and had done Steadicam. And he actually taught us out of the very first Steadicam operator's handbook. So he got it from Tiffin and would show us slides of it.
I know exactly. I'll tell you a story about that. I was doing, I don't know if I've ever told this story on here before. I was doing an infomercial for the Chipper Vac, which was like a lawnmower vacuum cleaner, something or other, whatever. Okay. My friend Adam Kane was the DP, and I had, I don't remember, I probably had a Pro by then or something like that. And I show up on set, and he goes, "You're not up for 6 shots." So I build the camera, and I think my friend Charles Pappard, who's a Steadicam operator, was at that time, had just gotten a hold of the original Steadicam manual and had photocopied it for me. So he gave it to me. So I'm sitting there and I go, oh wait, I got, and it's an infomercial, so it's not like I'm sitting on set listening to the dialogue or what. Yeah. So it's like, oh, I got it in my backpack. So it's in a loose leaf binder, and I'm reading it and I'm like, oh, wow, this, and I'm clearly excited. And this woman sitting next to me, we're in a little area where people have chairs, and she goes, what are you reading that's so interesting? And I said, oh, this is the Steadicam manual. I've never read it before. And she goes, oh. And she goes, what do you do on the show? And I said, oh, I'm the Steadicam operator. And oh, there's Garrett, and there's... And 10 minutes later, my buddy Adam, the DP, comes over and goes, dude, what's going on? And I was like, huh? And he goes, producer just came over to me, tells you the Steadicam operator I hired doesn't know how to use the equipment. And I'm like, what? And then I looked down and I'm like, oh, wait. So I went over, I grabbed her, I said, wait, let me explain. She goes, what? And I said, look, this is from 20 years ago. I'd never seen it. It literally doesn't even have anything to do with what I'm doing. I'm an established operator. I was just excited because it's a piece of history. And she goes, oh, I was a little concerned that you were... And I was like, no. So, but it's so funny because he came, and he's trying to light a set and this and that and the other.
That's awesome.
But like you say, from that, I remember, I'd been an operator for a while, and it was just like, oh, this is like the Bible, and half of it's wrong, Yeah, that's great.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh.
So they were teaching you out of that. Do you remember what you were? Was it like was it a cinema product Steadicam, or was it a Pro?
Oh no, it was an Ultra One.
It was
and
wow.
A Flyer.
Wow. Okay. So it was like the newer lighter versions of the Steadicam that they use for video cameras and stuff. But they essentially work the same way. The concept is the same.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Of course, I was the only girl in the class, so I was like, I need to go in the biggest one. It was the most painful experience of my life. I will never forget that pain. I was like,
boy.
Oh my God. This is what it's supposed to feel like.
And yet you stuck with it, apparently.
I did. I'm a glutton for punishment. Yeah. A really high pain tolerance.
Yeah. So, that was a semester course?
That was 10-week course.
Wow.
Twice a week. 2.5 hours.
And it's just Steadicam?
Just Steadicam.
That's amazing.
Just
I've never heard of a school having something like that. That's incredible.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
And we would like the first 2 or 3 classes was just theory. He would like literally have slides of the Steadicam handbook, and he would show us like, okay, this is the line dance, this is forward, backward, and then I think it was like a 3rd or 4th class we got to actually put the rig on.
Yeah.
And everyone was just like, whoa.
Yeah, this is horrible.
This is horrible. And so, but I was like, I'm never getting out of this.
Yeah.
So my professor, I remember there's a huge fountain in Savannah called Forsyth, and we were gonna do a walk and talk around it, and it's pretty large, and so I'm like going, and I'm just like I'm going, and I feel it. I'm like, damn it, here it comes, here it comes, here it comes, here it comes. Here
What,
it comes.
the pain you mean?
The pain.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that sweet, sweet, sweet pain. And I just start to just sweating, just profusely sweating. And I come up and I'm like, I put it in rest position on my shoulder. I'm like, okay, I can go again. And he looks at me in the face and he goes, hey guys, why don't we just pick the Steadicam up off of her for a real quick second?
Just take a minute
super
here.
calm with it, because
Yeah.
he knew I wasn't going to let it go.
Yep.
And they come in and they just pick it up, and I was like, I literally just kind of collapsed.
Yep.
Because it is like, now I'm like super comfy and it feels great, but the first 5 years or so of me practicing with it were the most painful years.
Yeah, for anybody who has never had a Steadicam on before, it's one of the most awkward feel, because it changes your center of gravity. It's wrenching you in all sorts of bizarre ways, and it changes as it goes. It's really kind of not good. But for some reason you do get used to it, and you build. I mean, I don't know if you get massages after you have long days or whatever, but I remember I would get massages, and if I got, if it was on location or whatever, and I'd get a massage from someone I'd never seen before, obviously, they'd be working on my shoulders or whatever, and they'd sort of work down the back, and then they'd get to my lower back, and there'd be a poke and a pause and a poke and a pause. And then usually there's what do you do for a living? Because there's weird muscles there that don't exist anywhere else.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a different world. So that was 2000 and...
That was 2004. 2000, no. That was 2007, 2008.
Okay, so then at some point you must have bought a small rig or something.
Yeah. So I bought a small rig after I moved out to LA. I bought a Pilot, an SD Pilot off of eBay.
Okay. Yeah.
And I use that for. Honestly, I still have it. I need to do something with
it's
it.
It's a little video cam.
Literally,
study. But it's
12-pound max.
But again, works exactly the same way as the big ones do. That's the beauty of what Garrett designed, is it's never actually changed.
Yes.
Essentially.
Very true. Very true.
But so you were doing just music videos on the weekend and stuff and whatever?
Student gigs.
And did you ever tell people on set that this was something you did, or
not really? I just kept it to myself.
You didn't go in and go, I know this is Django Unchained, but I got this piloted.
I honestly would not tell anyone. Even when I was seconding on the more larger stuff, I didn't tell anyone unless they seemed interested in me. It's not something that I felt. And maybe that's just my personality in general. It's if you don't seem like you're interested in getting to know me, then I won't really tell you much about myself.
I hear you.
But I know, in my seconding career, I have gotten a lot of help and just tidbits and stuff from people, from Steadicam operators on set once they figure it out. Because you can kind of tell when people are interested, and they could tell that I was interested. Because I'd be around when Steady was up, even more, and just like take care of them even a little bit extra because I understand what it felt like.
Sure.
And I'd just be like looking at the rig and like seeing how they would build things and like watching how they walked, watching what their post hand was doing. Like I was just very like keyed in on how everyone did everything. So eventually people would find out and like give me like the wonderful Colin Anderson. Like he,
great guy,
such a wonderful
and a great
human being.
operator.
Yes,
Yeah.
my God, yes. Like he came in with us on Space Jam for like I think a week, and I would like, I don't know how I ended up telling him. And after he found out that I wanted to operate, he would like go talk to the director, blah, 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 and he'd come back and be like, so I did that because, and he would explain why he would do certain things.
Doesn't surprise me at all.
right?
Doesn't surprise me.
And then one morning, he gave me a 30-minute lesson before work.
That's great. Yeah.
Put me in his rig, watched me walk, and gave me tips.
There's something weird about Steadicam operators when they find out other people are interested. And I think it's because we all had people who taught us, because it was a very, especially like, Colin, myself, other people who are sort of that era.
Yeah.
There still weren't a lot of us around. And it was like, it was the kind of thing that if like 2 a.m. your rig went down, you put a phone call out and someone got up and drove you their rig, and no rental, just like, because we all wanted to succeed. You know? So it doesn't make. So I think it carries through a little bit, and also, we still want. I shouldn't say only we. You're part of this now. You're part of this too. You want everybody who's a Steadicam operator to be good, so that Steadicam operators are good.
Exactly.
Sort of.
Exactly.
So you want to pass it on.
Yep.
So basically, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, you're an established second AC now.
Yeah.
Give or take.
Yeah,
right?
give or take, yeah.
You've had a crazy amount of experience on big things as a PA, learning everything there is to know. Who's the operator? Was Scott Sakamoto on Django Unchained?
No, it was actually Colin Hudson in the portions
Hudson.
that,
Okay.
He
gotcha.
also, wonderful
Great
gentleman,
guy. Yeah, Colin
giving
and I
me
kind of
rigs.
came up together. So super nice guy.
He's like, you want my backup rig? I'm like,
Great upper.
Yes. He's like, it only has a TB6. I was like, no problem, sir.
So did you buy his Steadicam?
No. Okay, so how I ended up buying a rig was I had to get a vest, because what I found out was that those first 5 years was that the vest didn't fit me.
That is a big part that a lot of people don't know.
Yes. And so once I figured that out, I ended up purchasing a vest used from an operator named Mike Nelson, who he's operating now and is like big time, whatever. And he had a pro vest that he didn't like.
Okay.
And so I took it to Pro, and Pro was still here. And I was like, hey, Jack, I bought this vest. Help.
Yeah.
And so Jack took the vest apart, put it in 2 pieces, put 1 piece on my back, 1 piece on my front, and bolted it on my body.
There you go.
And that is how I felt at all comfortable in anything.
Yep.
Granted, my vest looks like a child's vest compared to all of you guys',
It's all good.
but it fits so wonderfully now.
I think you'd look ridiculous wearing mine, and I'd look ridiculous wearing yours, so that's all right. It fits you.
Yeah, no, it was great, because I wanted to take a big rig workshop. I wanted to take the one in Philly, because I knew a lot of those guys. Because, also forgot to mention this, during this time of assisting and all this stuff, I had been volunteering for Tiffin at NAB and Cine Gear.
Oh, okay.
And so I would go put people in rigs at NAB.
Gotcha. So Tiffin, who makes the Steadicam now, and you would be like the helper there as people come into the booth going, hey, you want to try this on? And
Yep.
Yeah.
And that helped me in just understanding how vests are supposed to fit. And I would also use it as a networking opportunity, because Garrett would always be there. Jerry would always be there.
Yep.
All these other operators would already be there.
Jared Brown, Jerry Holloway, the big names.
Big names like Ruben from Amsterdam.
Yep.
He would be there. And so they would always teach me stuff.
Yep.
And so I loved doing it. So I think I did ended up doing 2 or 3 NABs with Tiffin. And it's you're not getting paid anything, but what I did get was rig time.
Yeah. You got paid. You just needed paid cash.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so I did those for a few years. I also was volunteering with the SOC to do the camera operator of the year category, so I could meet people. And honestly, I've worked with some of those operators. They're like, why do I know you? I'm like, because I was the one calling you for your camera operator of the year subscription.
That's great.
And so yeah, through all of this, I'd been doing all of that too. So I knew, I was like, oh, I need my vest to fit better. So once I got that, Jack bolted it on me. I finally was able to take that workshop, because I had taken I took my class in SCAD, and then I took a 3-day workshop with the wonderful Peter Abraham, who is still one of my biggest
one of the
supporters.
People who taught me.
Really,
Bob Crone was the lead instructor, and Peter Abraham was one of the second tier. There's 5 or 6 people at the workshops.
What?
Peter taught me. Yeah.
Peter's great.
Wonderful.
I literally talk to him every job I have.
Wonderful person.
Such an amazing human being.
Yep.
And of course, the beautiful Dan Neese, who has no longer with us.
Yep.
Dan was just you can do this. What do you mean? You can do this.
Yeah.
Dan was never, that's what I loved about Dan. Dan was just you can absolutely do this. Why not?
Yep.
I'm you're right, Dan.
Yeah,
and he would just give me tips. he's the one that hired me. He was doing like a low budget short. He hired me as a second AC for it, and paired me up with his old focus puller and taught me a plethora of knowledge. I've just been really fortunate to run into all these amazing gentlemen who have just wanted to help me succeed.
That's great.
And so after Peter, because when I took the workshop, Peter knew immediately. He's like, you know a little bit more, don't you? And I was like, I kind of do. Yeah. So what he did was, everyone else he taught like it was basic, but for me, he gave me extra stuff.
Because you were already past that point because you had your own rig and whatever.
Yep. And so once I got the vest, I took the 5-day workshop in Chester Springs, and again, like, I knew all the instructors, and so I was like hanging out with them afterwards, before blah 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 blah, and that was when I actually realized and learned how a Steadicam worked. And I tell everyone who's doing it, I'm like, if you haven't taken a workshop, you need to take that one, because understanding how the rig is supposed to work is one of the most important things you can do, because then you understand what your body is doing to it. And like, that was, I love that workshop to this day. I got to ask Jerry all these questions about the gear.
Jerry Holloway.
Jerry Holloway, super great.
So much. Who wrote the Steadicam handbook, or whatever it's called, Steadicam Operator's Handbook.
Wrote that. Garrett was really great at answering questions. Like, I got to try different types of rigs, and I love that they have their whole line there, because you can choose which one really works for you. And so, like, anyone out there who is thinking about getting into Steadicam, please take a workshop. Please.
Absolutely,
it's
take a workshop.
invaluable.
My version of what you were just saying, which that's, I'm sure, much better, is when I teach people, I always go, look, the Steadicam works, you're in the way. So you have to figure out how to get out of the way of the Steadicam while still making it do what you want it to do. But the problem is you.
I literally say that. I was like, I learned how not to fuck it up.
It's exactly right. That's exactly right. It's 100%. So when did you make the jump to operating? I mean, it sounds like you're doing jobs here and there, but when did you make the union jump to operating?
I made the union jump in February 2021.
So, wow. Or
2022, sorry.
Relatively recently.
Oh, very recently.
Yeah, and was that, and you went from second ACing to operating? Was that a freaky, like, oh my God, I'm closing the door, or?
Kind of, but like you were saying earlier, I got real bored. I got super bored, and I started to, like, my mouth started to go, and I was like, oh, no, Rochelle, no,
this is
you
not
do
what we
not get to talk back to people like that, no. And so that's when I figured out, I was like, oh, the challenge is gone. There wasn't anything massive that I was learning on my day-to-day anymore. And that's when I realized, and I was comfortable as a second. I was super comfortable.
That's
I
when
had
it
a
gets
focus puller that I was working with.
It becomes a problem a little bit.
I
did ER for 3 years, and I left after 3 years because the first year I would have slept on set. The second year I could not wait to get to set. And at the beginning of the third year I was like, I'm getting a little tired, and it started to, even though it was amazing, it was on such a high level, but we were doing it so much. I mean, I did 63 episodes as the only camera operator, and by the end of it, I was sort of realizing I'm getting bored, and I can't believe I'm getting bored, but I'm just getting bored because there's only so much you can do in here, and the truth of the matter is there's always more you can do. But I just saw my attitude sort of going, and I realized, you know what, I'm never going to be this young at this point in my career on something this big, and I want to leave I want to leave while they still want me here, as opposed to after they want me gone. And it was a really, really hard decision. But I left, and I look back, and I'm glad I did, because I think I was becoming sort of like, we could do that, but and it's just like I didn't want to be that way. So very much, it's smart to listen, and it's hard because all right, I'm going to finish this job, and someone else will call me, and I'll work that, and then I'll say, it's easy, but I think it may be a life lesson as well as just this business. If you're not challenging yourself, it's like you gotta move forward. So you made the jump to operating, and you're basically a B camera operator, Steadicam operator, right? And so the A camera operator is, I'm assuming, generally not a Steadicam operator. You're the sole Steadicam, or sometimes
for the ones I've been on, the A camera operator have been Steadicam, but I've also known them forever, so it's been great.
But so on those, have you just been B and not Steadicam? Okay, but so you're still learning from them, but you're not doing Steadicam.
Which I love because just camera operating in general. Take Steadicam out of it. Yeah. It's a lot. And when you go from like seconding to operating, you have to like turn your brain a different way to like this new position. So I have not been upset at all about like, oh, I want to do more steady. Like, yeah, I'm going to. But what I really want to just be is a really good operator.
That's great.
I just really enjoy Steadicam because I'm a glutton for punishment.
Sure. Yeah.
But, like, I'm like, okay, if I learn how to frame on a head dolly handheld, when I go to steady, it'll be an even better frame because I can move through it.
So let's talk about operating. You jump from second ACing to operating. What are some of the biggest hurdles?
Confidence.
Yeah, okay.
Because I was really confident second.
Yep.
I knew exactly what I needed to do, where I needed to be, what my job was, everything. And now it's like, I'm like questioning myself in ways that I remember doing it when I first started second.
So what do you do about that? On set. You're on set, you're questioning yourself.
My wonderful mentor, Jeff Haley, has given me this phrase that he's like, practice failure. Because that's honestly one of the most important things is how you get out of, once you failed at a shot, it's your attitude after that. Because you can either flounder and ruin the rest of your day, or you can say, hey, guess what? I'm human. I fucked up. It's cool. Now, what did I just do wrong? Okay. All right, I identified that. How can I fix that?
Yep.
Is that fixable? Sure. Let's come up with something. All right, cool, let's do it. And like I found out that if I look at it in that way, my mind doesn't have time to like tell me I'm inadequate, tell me what am I doing here? Like, you're not supposed to be here. Like, look at you. You're like the only one here anyways. Like, why are you even here? It's like my brain doesn't have time to like.
So you basically just don't give yourself the ability to do that by filling it up with something that's actually useful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a good strategy. Look, my version of that is it's not the falling down, it's the getting up. Because everybody falls down. Everybody falls down. And one of the things that I have, I knew this, but I have talking to people on this podcast has pointed out to me is that I don't think a lot of people recognize is they look at people with 30-year careers and they go, oh, everything they do turns into gold. And it's like, we're hanging on by our nails most of the time trying to figure out impossible things that we actually don't think are going to work.
Yeah.
And confidence is, look, where you are right now, no question. But I go on to shows and I'm like, God, can I do this? Can I pull this off? Or not? And not only it's a little different because at my point, it's not can I pull it off, because I know I can pull it off.
Yeah.
It's can I pull it off to where I'm going to be happy with it and they're going to be happy with it, and so it's just the range changes, but it's still sort of, you're still questioning. I mean, one of the things that I ask the operators who've been around forever, and I ask almost all of them, is, do you ever get nervous? And they're like, every show.
Which blows my mind, because I'm like, I'm nervous the first day I show up. Yeah. My hand just like,
yeah. And but the only difference is that the more you do it and the more years you're in it, you're like, okay, I'm still nervous, but I know that's just a human reaction.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be okay. But there's a little part of me that's wondering if I'm gonna, if I'm gonna be able to do this or do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the next. And what about technical skills? What's been the hardest hurdle to overcome? Do you work on wheels? You work on a fluid head? Okay.
Yeah, awesome. Again, awesome mentors who've always told me, hey, you need to learn that. And also, honestly, I feel like I kind of had a leg up because, again, like the people I would work with knew what I wanted to do. So like they would do things like how was it? It was like, Space Jam. Yeah. Like both operators are my homies. So what they would do was they're like, you're doing all the VFX shots. So they would walk off, go figure off the rest shots, and they'd be like, all right, VFX pass. And I'd be on the wheels on the crane.
And the VFX is, for anybody, is basically, it's called tiling also. I'm assuming you're talking about tiling?
Yeah.
Where the VFX people are just standing next to you, go, okay, tilt up, go left, go left. But if you're doing that on the wheels, you've got to, first of all, you can screw up. That's the nice point.
Yes.
It's actually just a reference is really what it is.
Yep.
But you want to make it go. So it's giving you practical. You know what? It's funny. I'm going to take that and do that myself because
super helpful.
Yeah. Well, and
helpful.
Because here's the thing. Number one, I don't really want to do a VFX class. I want to go get a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
But there is someone who's going to want to do a VFX pass who that actually can help. So I'm going to take that. That's great.
Yeah.
But basically, so you were getting on the wheels anytime you could so that when you get a job with the wheels, you're ready to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And honestly, everything from like I remember on Cheaper by the Dozen, Mitch Amundsen, he let me do a shot one day. And he gave me a critique afterwards, and I loved it. I was like, please tell me everything.
You were a second AC.
I was a second AC, yeah. And so it's like I've been lucky throughout my seconding career that, first of all, I work with people who allowed me to hop off of jobs to go take Steadicam jobs.
Yep.
Like I would do shorts. I do like 4-day shorts. I did a 4-day short on Space Jam. Like I did like multiple other things. But what I realized once I got on set as an operator was like all those times like helped me to understand like what I was doing, and also as an operator what I need to ask for, because that was one thing that when I first started I was really timid and I was quiet, and it was like, no girl, you got to go out there, you got to talk to the on-set dresser, you need to go walk your set. You need to see what's going to be in your way. Where are they thinking about shooting? Okay, cool. What's behind us? Can you move this, and this? And so I had to really like step into my own voice as an operator and also realize what my power is, because I was still second AC brain where I'm just there to assist. Now I had to realize, okay, they're looking at me for guidance. Shit. Okay, here we go. I can do this. Yeah. And like just understanding, okay, cool. All right, this is my job. They're going to want to know the answers to these questions. What can I do to get those answers or facilitate them getting those answers if I can't answer it? And so
valuable. I mean, I find that actually B camera operators, newer B camera operators, specifically who are women, have a tendency to ask as opposed to say. And I say women because I think societally there's something there where it's like, I'm not supposed to. And I've taken a couple people aside and just gone, listen, here's the thing. I know this seems odd, and I know you're questioning yourself, and I know you're young and all that. But your dolly grip and your camera assistant are sitting there, and they just want the information because they're like, they want to make you look good. So like, don't hey, can we put the thing on this? I need the camera over here. I need a fluid head. I need a 25 millimeter. And that's what they want. And it's hard because you are questioning yourself, going, am I making the right decision or whatever? But they're like, look, we don't want people waiting on us. Tell us what to do.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's one of the things that I tell people when I'm mentoring, like, be decisive.
Yes, and that's also something that I was told too. It's like, if you're wrong, be 100% wrong.
Yeah, 100% wrong. And then, by the way, own it. Oh, you know what? I screwed up. I'm so sorry. This track has to come a foot over here. I apologize. You're angry. I get it. We got to do it. Let's move on. Yeah. And then later on, you go, I bought you a coffee. I'm really sorry.
Exactly.
It happens. Exactly. And they understand. I mean, everybody understands.
Yeah. And that's what I've been really like this last year. I'm like, okay. Be okay with being wrong. And again, like Jeff Haley has been helping me. Like, he's also a wonderful, wonderful person.
Great operator, great person.
And we have talks, like weekly talks about just everything. And so that's like one of the things that I've been like really working on. It's like, okay, why do I think this needs to be here? Put it there. Okay, nope. So here's what's happening.
Yep.
I messed up a little bit. Yeah. So we're gonna go over here. The shot actually changed, but I'm getting more comfortable in like being okay with being wrong and just making a decision, even with framing. Like I shot this short, and one of the notes Bob gave me was, he's like, commit to your pants. And I was like, oh, Bob, I know. I saw it, and I was like, thank you for that note. I know exactly what you mean. And it's because like I would always question where I would land things, and it's like, no, land
the shot.
Okay, maybe that wasn't the frame that I wanted, and I can move now.
Yep. Yeah, as
Cool.
opposed to landing and then going, I'm going to keep on moving a little bit for no reason until I get there.
Yes.
Yeah. And what I was told early on was, and that's what you want to do, you want to land your shots. You want to land them correctly, there's no question about it.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, it's better to land a shot that's off-framed and then like, oh, look who's so artsy-fartsy. Why don't you land the frame normally? So as opposed to like, because everybody's going like, oh, he didn't quite make it. He's sort of going, and now it's an unusable shot.
Exactly. So it's literally like little things like that, like just like having the confidence to know what type of support you need also is a thing that I've been learning.
You mean asking for help? I mean, not help is the wrong word, but
just like, should I be on a bazooka here?
Oh, that type of support.
Or, like, should I be like...
Equipment.
Yeah, like, should I tell him to break the neck on the dolly or should I just put him on the head?
So,
and now I'm like, you know what? Break the neck.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, I think we'll be around here. Break the neck.
And so working with a dolly grip.
Yes.
I mean, do you mind me asking how old you are?
I am 36.
You're 36. Okay.
Gladly.
For people who are on a podcast who can't see, you do not. I thought you were in your 20s. Okay. You between your energy and your look, I think you're in. But anyway, you come off as a young person.
Yeah.
And this is an industry sometimes where you get there and the dolly grip will be 10 years older than you or whatever, and a guy, and in some cases, like many people on a set, maybe not so psyched about taking. Well, there's two things. Not so psyched about being told what to do by someone who's new, because they're going to know that because they've IMDb'd you.
Oh, yes.
We all know that.
Yes.
And going, oh, God, so am I going to have to move the dolly track 12 times because this person doesn't know what they're doing?
Exactly.
Which is valid.
Yes.
Which is valid. And
Totally.
then maybe not so psyched about taking direction from a young person who's a woman, which is not valid. So how do you deal with that?
Okay, so luckily for me, all these older dolly grips, I'm friends with them already because I've been seconding with them.
There you go.
And so when they see me, they're like, you moved up? I'm like, yeah, Brad. He's like, so excited.
Yeah.
And so what I also, like, I learned this years ago. It's like, if you're going to hire someone that's good at their jobs, you're hiring them for their expertise. Mm-hmm. So what I do is like say you're Brad Ray's or whatever, I'll be like, Brad, what do you think? You've been doing this forever. Where do we need to be?
Yep.
This is the shot. I need to do this. It needs to go here. Let me know. And I find that like if I respect them, and granted, this is not going to work for everyone. If they don't like you, they're not going to like you, even if you show them the utmost respect. And I've run into that before. But what I found is I try to utilize the knowledge that's around me. Because I know what my shortcomings are, and I might not know some of them, but I know that I'm lacking in experience, but I also know that I'm trying to learn everything. So that's kind of how I approach every day that I go to set. I'm like, what can I learn today?
That's great.
And who's going to teach it to me?
Well, and I think there's something inherent with what you just said is asking the dolly grip, because their expertise is laying track or whatever, what they think, is not a weakness in you. It's an acknowledgement that they have an expertise that you don't.
Yep.
And to your point of let's break the neck, I'll do the same thing, but I'll usually go, let's break the neck because I need to be here, but I think we're going to have to go here. And I tell them, and there's a reason I tell them why, because then they can know why I'm breaking the neck. And if there's something I'm not thinking of, they could go, or I can do this and we can get both of those places, but we could also get up here if that happens. And I'll go, you know what? You're right. Whereas if I just say break the neck, they're just going to do that, but I may have missed something. Yep. And the other thing I'll usually do is like for cranes, and I'll look at the crane shot and I'll think, okay, I know where I want the base to be, because cranes are all about where the base is,
yep.
right? Especially telescoping cranes.
Yeah.
But then I'll usually come to the dolly grip and go, okay, so the camera needs to be here and it needs to go here and we need to do this and we need to do that. And I describe the shot. Where do you think the base should be? And I'm not testing them. What I'm doing is I'm saying, I don't want to put anything in your mind. Where do you think the base should be?
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10 at this point in my career, we're in the same level. But when we're not, I'll go, really? Because I thought it was going to be over there. Why do you think it's better over here? And then either they'll tell me something that I'll go, no, I'd like it better over there. Or they'll go, well, yeah, but you're not looking at those power lines back there that I'm going to have to be close to. So it's, oh, you're right. Okay, so then let's put it, So again, I am using. They have an expertise that I don't have, but I'm sort of I'm using it to check myself to see whether I'm right or I'm wrong. But but again, it's not a failing. It's a collaborative effort.
Yeah,
you know?
And like I was like the movie Resball that I was on. Like I had never met my dolly grip before, and they were all local in New Mexico.
Who was your dolly grip?
His name is Alex Cintron. And he's like this 6'4" Puerto Rican dude, like looks like Samoan and Puerto Rican. And I remember when I was like, "Where's my dolly grip?" They're like, "Oh no, you'll notice him when you see him. You'll know him." And he came up to me, and we literally hit it off within like 5 seconds.
And how tall are you?
I'm 5'5".
Yeah, so I was gonna say it's like you made a good team. Yeah.
It was like
That's
honestly, great. Like the DP, her name is Kara Kelly. Afterwards, she was like, "You guys worked really good together." At one point, when the main actress comes up to us, she's like, "How long have you guys been working together?" Like 10 years. And we look at each other, we're like, give or take 3 weeks.
That's great.
But it was because like we realized just like, because even one day I was like, "Hey, just so you know, like I don't believe that the film industry is a solo industry. I believe that the film industry is a collaborative industry. So if you come up with an idea for an amazing shot, tell me. I don't care if it's for me. What we're here to serve is Sydney. So whatever, if you see me doing something and you think, hey, that'll be a better shot, move me over there and tell me that."
Yeah.
And so once we had that conversation, our synergy was so incredible.
That's great. But that's a credit to you because you empowered him with that ability to do, and that's what I do with all the people I work with.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, sometimes you have to judge it a little because there's some people who can't step up to that and some people who don't have the right instincts, which
Agreed.
That's a tough
it's
a tough situation because it's hard to walk that back afterwards.
And I ran into that on like one of the very, very first shows that I had, and he was a really nice gentleman, but he was not a dolly grip, and it made my life a lot more difficult because I was like, oh shit, I gotta figure out where to put this track right now.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see what the move is. And I would tell him and be like, okay, I think that's right. And like, I remember like one time he put the chassis in the wrong side on the track and I was like, I need to be over there. I'm so sorry. You're going to have to take this off. And it was like a set with glass walls, so we had to be really careful.
Oh, boy.
He ended up having to take it back off. And and I just was like, okay, I now understand. I literally had that moment where I was like, this is why the Mike Walls of the world are amazing, because
I've got to make these decisions myself and not rely on it. Yeah. But those are tough things to learn.
But again, it was another learning experience that, I've taken a lot out of like now, but the dolly grip is like so important.
Yeah.
Incredibly important. Like I remember one day I'm doing a handheld shot in the basketball court, and I'd been sitting there so long that my leg fell asleep, and I had a Charlie horse, and he pulls the camera off my shoulder, and I was like, "Alex, I can't move. Alex, I can't move." And he literally picks me up by my ergo rig and takes me off the set and puts me on the side. And like the publicity chick walks up to us and she was like, "I don't know if you understand how hilarious that was to see." Right. I was like, we're a team,
That's
dude.
Great.
But
that's fantastic.
Yeah, it was that was probably one of the best, because it was such a long show. This was my first like long feature with someone.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is the type of relationship that I want to try to foster and like,
good,
because it was so collaborative. Like it was wonderful. Like he would like we had basketball moves, and I'm like, he would call out shots for me because I was like on a long zoom and we were like running a play. He's like, "All right, key." I'm like, "Got it." He's like, "All right, shot," because like you're in a tighter lens and like, oh.
Because he can see the whole world that's going on, and you've just got a little piece of it.
Exactly.
So,
and
there you go.
Didn't have to tell him to do that.
That's fantastic.
He just knew to do it.
No, that's great. That's great. Well, and he wanted you to succeed, obviously.
Yeah.
And a lot of that actually ends up coming down to personality. He felt your personality. And
absolutely.
Realized you were a collaborator.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you this. As a B camera operator, so rehearsals, what are you doing?
I'm in there.
Yeah?
I try to get in on private rehearsals. I try to be in there for every single rehearsal.
And what do you do during the rehearsal?
During the rehearsal, I'm looking at first of all where the DP is looking. Like, okay, you're looking at where you're gonna put your lights, cool, tight, and then I see where they want their shots are gonna be. I'm like, all right, where's A camera gonna be? Mm-hmm. Okay, so A camera's gonna be there. All right, so that's that side of the line. Okay, let me see what I can get over here. And then also just like looking at what's gonna be obstacles so that I can tell set dressing. All right, I think it looks like we're gonna be here. We're gonna be on this side. Can you just prepare yourself to move all of these things right here. And then also, if you see that mirror, I think it might be a problem. Maybe for A camera, I think I might not have a problem, but just so you know, that might be a thing. So it's just, and for me as a newer operator, rehearsals are super important for me because I listen, again, eavesdropping to everything that's happening, because every piece of information I can get helps me to be able to get my camera where it needs to be sooner so that I can practice my moves.
Sure.
Because that's what I do whenever I'm always rehearsing my move. Because, I'm newer. I don't have 10,000 hours behind this thing. So I really have to make sure that I know where I'm going. And also sometimes, because I'm newer, I'll back myself into a corner where I'm like, oh no, I need to pan left. And I just put myself right next to
my arm's gonna hit the wall or
exactly, or something like that. So I really utilize rehearsals like a lot. And I'm always on set. I'm always in the room. I'm always either DIT or on set. Like if it's a Steadicam move, like I just did res ball with Justin and Justin Brown. Justin and I have known each other for like over 10 years now, and this was our first time like operating together. So like Steadicam moves, I'd be in the tent and he'd be like, yo, what'd you think about it? I'm like, no, you land that, it's cool, blah, 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 blah. Or I'd be on set to like watch his footwork if it was something different that I'd never done before. Yeah, so like cool. Especially like right now for me, I'm learning so much.
That's great.
That I yearn to be close to everything. Like even lights, I'll be like, okay, why is that there? Like, okay, I think that's gonna be out of my frame. And like also part of my thing is I don't like to waste people's time. And when I say that, I mean I don't like to have people move things that don't need to be moved and they
don't like to do that either.
Exactly. Cost a DP time by not telling them about light. So I try to stay on top of that. Like I don't ever want to be telling someone about a light right before we roll. So I try to just I had an awesome operator who told me, get up off the dolly and walk your set. So I do that all the time.
Tell people what that means.
So walking your set means you literally go and you walk around the set and just look for obstacles, look for problems that could impede your shot. Like there might be something in the foreground or there might be, I don't know, a light somewhere that you didn't necessarily realize that was there. But just any and everything that could impede the shot, or honestly impede the actor too, because you have to remember that what you're doing is in service of the actor also and the director, because if they weren't there, you wouldn't have anything to frame up on.
That's true.
So I'm like, I try to be very, and that's honestly one of the things I really like about this job is working with the actor.
So tell me about that.
It's invigorating, actually, especially on Steadicam too. I love dancing with actors. Handheld too. Like, it's just, if they can get me to feel the emotion that they're trying to get, I know we got it.
Nice.
And so that's one of my favorite parts. Like, I love working out Steadicam shots where I'm like, hey, so I gotta do a changeover a little bit. So if you can just milk that look, it'll give me time to turn my body around and we can start the walk. When you're coming up on me, like, remember, one of your steps, two of mine. So I know you want to accelerate here.
Yeah.
I'm going to remember that and I'm going to take off. But you got to remember, you got to slow down for a little bitty time so I can get around here and there. Yeah. And, some of the greatest actors, they totally get it because they understand. It's and some don't. And I've run into that before.
Yeah. So what do you do when that happens? What do you do when you're working with, two questions. What do you do when you're working with the actor who doesn't want to work with you? Mm-hmm. And how do you, when you meet actors for the first time, how do you determine this is someone we're gonna be working together, this is someone I have to work around, this is someone I probably shouldn't talk to?
So first of all, how do I deal with like a more difficulty actor? First of all, I don't believe in having someone affect the way that I do my job, right? So if my job is an operator and I have to talk to you, I'm going to come up to you, I'm going to introduce myself to you, I'm going to ask you for what I need. If you tell me no, I will say, okay, no problem. I will figure it out. Thank you so much. And I will go back to my camera and I will let the DP know and the director, just so you know, I asked, it's not going to happen. So we'll just pivot. We'll figure this out. We'll add another setup. It'll be fine. And then as far as like, how do I know? I kind of figured it out a little bit as a second, like marking actors. How to figure out if actors
who to
are going to
approach and who not to approach.
Yeah, because like great example, Kristen Bell, love her. She used to like tell me, don't worry about that, my girl. I'm going to blast through that one. Just give me one back there. Don't worry about the desk because I can feel the stapler on my butt and I'm going to put my butt on the stapler. Mm-hmm. And so I understood, like, you can tell, like, when you meet someone, like, first of all, if they look you in their eye, that's, like, a big thing for me. I'm like, when I meet someone, I'll always look you in your face. If you do not, I'm like, okay. All right, copy that. Like eye contact, understood. And then I'll kind of like introduce myself. Hi, I'm the camera operator, blah, blah, blah. Let me know if there's anything you need. How do you like to be addressed? Like, do you like to be addressed as your character's name or do you like to be addressed with your name?
It's funny, I do the exact same thing.
Right?
But it's very calculated because it's an honest question that shows I care about them, but it also tells me a lot how they respond.
Exactly. And I think I learned that from like someone telling me about Denzel. It's like, don't ever tell him, address him as his name. He's like,
there's a lot of rules about Denzel.
There is, and I was like, I'm just gonna be a loader, and I'll be right here. It's
exactly.
Cool. But like, I try to just ask them that. And just be like, I'm here if you ever need anything, if you feel like I'll be happy to just hold a role. I can make up something if you ever need anything. Just let me know. And for the most part, I have been lucky, but I have also run into more challenging people to deal with. But like, I don't know, it's a fun part of the job, like getting to deal with their different personalities, for sure. But I don't know. I don't think I have enough experience there yet to like really say how it would work.
That's honest.
But
that's fair.
So far I've been lucky,
and
I'm gonna just knock on wood.
That's good.
That it stays that way.
That's all good.
But yeah, that's how I try to just approach them as human beings. Mm-hmm. And just show them that I respect you as a human. I will always respect you as a human being, no matter how you treat me. It's cool.
Yeah.
But just know, if you treat me badly, then I won't. I'll just talk to you about what I need to talk to, and that'll be it.
That's a good way to go.
And that's it. So yeah.
Well, Rochelle, this has really been fantastic. I feel like after listening to you that clearly I'm going to be your B camera operator someday. Probably
I'm trying
someday,
to be your B camera operator first.
Thank you so much. There's so much great information here.
Thank you for having me.
As I suspected, I think you just, because you're in the process of this, I think you have a more immediate and probably accurate view of some of the things that I keep talking to people about, because you're in the midst of it, and you also you speak about it very well, so that was great. I'll leave you with my final question that I leave everybody, which is slightly different for you.
Okay.
But what is your advice to people in your situation who are just beginning this journey, people trying to start the journey, film students who want to be operators? What is your advice for success?
My advice for success would be, whatever job that you were currently occupying, do it at the best of your abilities. Like, don't worry about operating right now. Don't worry about, just try to be the best at what you are now. Because when you do move up to that ultimate job that you want, you'll understand just how important it was to be good at those jobs. because I am understanding that right now every single day. I am literally like, there's some days that I have that I'm like, you remember that when you were a second, right? Remember when that operator did that? So you honestly never know when a piece of knowledge is going to come in handy for you. So just be open in the position that you are to learning everything you can about that position, and always be striving to learn more. Like, always be striving to learn more, because knowledge is definitely the key in this industry. And preparation, practice, watch movies, watch TV shows, watch experimental shit, watch shorts, shoot shit. Shoot like a 30-second project. Shoot your cat, shoot your dog, shoot your toes on the ground, frame something up, take photos, like anything that you can do in a visual sense, like do it, because you never know what you're learning. Like, everything is a new, like every second you do something is almost like a new experience for your brain. It's like, because you got to remember, like, as adults, our brains aren't necessarily like taking in new information like when we were children. It's like playing back through a series of like experiences we've had. So if you can get your to a moment where you're just like deep in it, and you can have like these moments of like true learning, you'll get so much out of that you don't even realize. It'll be in your subconscious, and you'll be on a set one day, you'll be the AOP on something, and they'll be like, hey, we got an idea for a shot. You think we can do this, 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 this? And you'll be like, oh, shit. Yep, we can. We can. Because you'll remember 5-6 years ago, you were in your apartment and you tried to do something like that. And you're like, if I had this gear, I would have done it this way, this way, this way. So you never know where your references are going to come from. So that's what I would say.
I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. We'll be back soon with another great episode. Don't forget to check us out on theop.io for all sorts of information on operating and storytelling. So thanks for listening, and have a great day.